What's up, everybody? We are live with the MMA Mainstream Podcast. I'm James, of course, joined by my co-host Kaelyn. Kaelyn, how you doing?
Good. It's a good Sunday. UFC was last night, which was exciting.
A crazy event from what we've heard. There were 2 retirements and a retirement from the division, which we'll get into momentarily. First, Let's go ahead and talk about one of the retirements. We're going to kind of bounce around the card talking about it, but I want to talk about this first because I'm a huge fan of his. And it was also put out there that it was one of the last fighters on the UFC roster that competed in Pride, and that was Shogun. He retired last night after his fight. He lost in the first round. I know a lot of people are unhappy with his opponent and the way he celebrated after beating him. I get guys get excited. I understand that. But it's like, dude, you know he was going to retire. Like, you know you literally sent him into retirement. Like, do you really you could be a little bit classier about it.
He doesn't have to, though. He really doesn't have to be. You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
Right. You would think personally he
Right. Right, because you just understand who he is and how long he's been around and stuff like that. But, I mean, it's his opponent. Like, what are you going to – is his last opponent really required to – be respectful and all that, like when he doesn't have to be, he really doesn't.
You're right, but you would think he would have shown some tact.
You would think so, because everyone else probably would have. Yeah, everybody else probably would have, but he's not required, so people are going to do what they want to do. I mean, I saw the fight. It was, you don't like to see somebody get put out like that, but it is what it is, I guess. It was his time to retire for sure. At least he went out on his shield, so that's all right. I kind of thought that's what was going to happen, although I didn't know too much about his opponent. But, yeah, I don't know. I'm not that surprised, but it is sad to see someone go.
I'm a huge Shogun fan, but I had a feeling he wasn't going to win. And that I don't mean that to
exactly. Yeah, that's what I'm not that surprised,
But it does suck that the guy didn't show a little more tact in his victory and be like, this was a huge honor, and instead was like, yeah, jumping for joy. But it is what it is.
I mean, he beat Shogun, so that is something to celebrate. But
no, you're right.
I don't know. Yeah, I guess I would have thought he'd have more class, but that's okay. It's not required. That's okay.
True. Now, were there any finishes that stood out to you in the fight card?
We'll go down the list again because I watched the whole main card, but
we'll start from the beginning.
Reminded. I do not remember that one. So the female fight was interesting. That was not bad. Zara, I don't remember where she came from.
France, apparently.
Right. No, I was kind of thinking Dana White Contender Series, but I don't remember. I think she did. She's very, very tall. Very, very long, which this is what made it interesting because the size difference, I don't know if it says right there. I think she was
doesn't, but honestly, I feel like you can tell. Right.
So the pictures doesn't do it justice, of course, because we're zoomed in on.
If you really look at it, it does. Hers is Zara. There we go. If I say it right. Hers is pushed further back, whereas her opponent is forward because you could tell.
So if they were standing side by side, there's a big difference.
Yeah, you can tell.
Although she did get tired, so the win went to the opponent because she is just really tough and gritty and got in there. But it was a very interesting fight at first because I thought maybe she would win and her combos were put together very nicely. It's just she got tired. So, man, it was a good one until you realized she was getting tired. But that one was interesting. She's very, very tall. So I, kind of an attention grabber. We'll see what happens next for her. Oh, and it was a featherweight. So who knows what'll happen now,
The one fight that I was kind of leading towards with what I was saying was Ishmael versus Terrence McKinney. And apparently fight had a crazy ending.
Actually, I do. Now I do remember seeing it. So Terrence McKinney went down just like face first.
Plant.
It was crazy. Yeah, that's that. You know, that was interesting. Crazy flying knee. But yeah, I had bigger hopes for Terrence McKinney. I didn't think that was going to happen. I don't think anybody else thought that was going to happen either.
I don't think anybody ever thinks that's going to happen.
Right. That's true. But I was surprised. It was exciting.
And then Cody Stamann getting the win.
I don't remember a whole lot about that. It wasn't.
That was decision.
Yeah.
Some performance of the Knights on the early prelims.
Cannot say that last name, but yeah, I did watch that too. Nothing crazy, I guess.
And then going up to the main card, we had Paul Craig versus Johnny Walker.
Yeah. Round one. Yeah. So I caught the very knockout of that. Didn't see what was leading up to it, but Johnny Walker got the win. He did that. God damn it. He did that. His little celebration worm at the end, the one that broke his shoulder in the first place. Yeah, he did that again. I don't know if he got hurt, but I'm just like, why are you still doing that?
Well, Johnny Walker also did make a comment in the press conference afterwards that he wants to be a champ.
Don't we all?
His goal is to hold belts in 2 different weight divisions. So we shall definitely see.
Well, we'll see.
His star is definitely on the rise. And then we had Lauren Murphy versus Jessica Andrade.
So this is funny. Well, maybe not funny. It's just I notice whenever Lauren Murphy fights that their commentators are not nice. I know that I feel like Lauren Murphy, she's very tough, but that's all you can actually say about her is that she's tough. Even the commentators were saying, you know, how long can we sit up here and just say how tough she is rather than what is she doing to be offensive, you know, and land her own strikes. Jessica Andrade, I don't know how she lasted the whole fight. I think the score was something I've never even seen before. It was like 30-25 or something weird like that. Numbers that you're not used to hearing.
Yeah, it's usually a tighter fight for most fights.
Exactly. So, but yeah, Jessica Andrade was a complete monster, which is so crazy because she's so short compared to Murphy. You would think Murphy would get something in there, you know, but all she did is really, I don't know if you saw her face after photos of her fight, but it was a mess. And even the commentators were just not on her side at all. And I think that's always like that. I feel like the last few of her fights were like that. I know when she fought the champ, of course, that's what happened because, you know, it's Valentina. But same thing. This one might even have been a worse beating because Andrade looked better than she normally has. So I don't know if she is going to make another run for the title or not. I don't know. She probably should. I think Murphy was ranked like number 4 before this fight. And Andrade was below that, I think, even. So, and I don't even know why Lauren Murphy is that high in the rankings, but maybe now it'll be rearranged.
If you have nothing to say positive to say about Lauren Murphy, like,
well, she's tough, but that's it, you know.
But that really tells you something. You can't really compliment her on anything else.
She's just was a walking zombie, you know, like constantly trying to cover up, but not really. And then,
well, we've established that she's tough, but
yeah,
nothing else. Like, come on, guys, like dig deep, find something. Like,
well, even the commentators are like, what else can we say? And I feel like there's been a few occasions where they were like that in her other fights.
She was amazing at baking, or not like something random. Like, she's really good.
I don't know. I've never heard anything like, oh, she's good at this specifically, or you know.
Amazing painter.
I think she was on The Ultimate Fighter. I think I saw her on The Ultimate Fighter. That's where she started. I think she did a little bit better there, but I mean, she made her way up to the top to get a title shot, so that was big. Like, she did get that. She earned that. But once she got there, it's like, what else is there? Because, you know, it's usually the same thing over and over. So I don't know. I just thought it was, I guess, funny. I don't know. The commentators are always just not on her side.
And that's sad.
Yeah.
But Lauren Murphy unfortunately lost by unanimous decision. Moving on, Gilbert Burns made quick work of Neil Magny.
Yeah, he did. That's good to see. It's good to see because Gilbert Burns is ranked up there. He's been fighting the best of the best. Hadn't had very good luck against, like, the champ. And I think there's a couple fights where he lost. But this one was an interesting one, or was supposed to be an interesting one. I didn't know Neil Magny was going to get taken out so fast. But, I mean, it should be that, with how good Gilbert Burns is on paper, he should have done what he did. So,
yeah, because he's also establishing himself well into the division, whereas Neil Magny's been around, but he's been up and down.
He's been around for a long time.
Burns has been slowly making his way.
Yeah, and I think he called out Colby Covington after, so that should be cool.
I think it was him that wants Colby Covington thrown out of the division because, here it is. Because he hasn't been fighting, or he's avoiding him, or.
Well, yeah, he hasn't. And then also, I don't know, he's trying to get people arrested for fighting.
True. So that will be definitely interesting to see if Colby Covington has a response. It'd be nice to see, but he's been very radio silence for quite some time.
Seems like it, yeah.
The whole thing came out with Masvidal.
Yeah, I wonder what's going on there.
We will hear, I know he's trying to press charges and that whole situation's going through, but will that continue?
I guess. Really, your guys are UFC fighters. You're going to press charges for fighting?
Right. Hey,
unless you pulled an actual weapon out on you, forget it.
That'd be even more nuts.
Yeah.
Being in a restaurant, he's like, what? He pulls a knife on him. Like, whoa, what? Wait, what?
Okay, well, that's a real situation. But getting hit or punched by someone who is a fellow UFC fighter, I'm like, what do you expect?
And then moving up the card, we have the flyweight title bout. It's the fourth fight between Figueiredo and Moreno. And Moreno got the belt. He unified the belts. There was a doctor stoppage, I believe, in between rounds.
Yes.
So that gave Moreno the win and the title.
Yeah. So Davison's face got pretty fucked up. He had a really big cut under his eye that eventually led to his eye not being able to open. Also, he kind of protested a little bit of an eye poke, but watching the replay, it was not an eye poke. It was just a really hard punch at a weird angle that maybe it felt like an eye poke. Maybe it did get in his eye, but it was a closed fist. So kind of is what it is with that. But eventually the doctor had to stop it because of the eye. So I know no one was happy about that in that stadium. That's for sure. Also, Brandon Moreno is funny. We were talking about earlier. The security had to literally cover him walking out from the cage to the back from the fans just throwing beers constantly at him on the way back.
Which is so crazy. I mean, fans are crazy everywhere.
We're not used to seeing that because people don't do that here. I noticed Brazil does that, and then also Mexico did. I remember. I haven't seen any other places get that bad like that. I forgot where they were for a second. I'm like, what is going on? I'm like, oh, okay, that's Brazil. Their champ lost. So yeah, but I don't know. So that was number 4. I don't think there needs to be any more. Given there was a win, lose, draw, and now another win. So I don't want to see this fight again.
And Figueiredo, he left his gloves in the cage.
Yeah, man, he took his gloves off, and I'm like, oh, there's no way he's retiring. Threw his gloves down. Turns out he's not really retiring just from that weight division. He's going to move up to 135. I thought that was lame considering Shogun's actual retirement. I mean, I thought that when you put your gloves down that it means something. Apparently not. I don't know if that was just like an attention thing or I don't know, because he could have easily have just said that on the mic, like, hey, I'm not going to be in this division anymore, I'm going to move up. But instead he throws his glove down as if he is retiring from UFC altogether, which I thought was lame. A lame cry for attention, maybe. I don't know. Whatever.
Well, I think it was for attention, especially because it's like it's not really your last fight. You're just going to move up a division. That's right. It. You don't need to go to that extreme when there's already a meaning behind it with leaving your gloves in the cage.
Right. And it is a big deal when you leave a division. It is a big deal for sure. It's just, don't make people think you're retiring from the sport altogether. He knew what he was doing.
Yeah, you're right about that. And then now we get to see what's next for Moreno, since he is the champ again.
Yeah. I'm not sure what's next. I don't know if they had something lined up or if someone was taking on the winner or loser type of thing. I don't remember.
And then lastly was the light heavyweight title bout between Glover Teixeira and Jamal Hill. Another retirement, like we were saying earlier, and that was Glover. Glover Teixeira has retired from MMA as well after he failed to recapture the light heavyweight title. This is Hill's first championship in the UFC, and I saw earlier on, I want to say MMA Junkie, believe it was MMA Junkie's Instagram, that he is the first fighter from Dana White's Contender Series to earn a championship.
Yeah, crazy. He's super tall. He was super lengthy. Everything he threw touched Glover, which is crazy, being that it still went all the freaking rounds. Glover is just getting beat up. He would not, I swear, he took like at least 10 to 15 shots that would have put anybody out. I thought he would have been out. I don't know how he was still. He was up bouncing around talking. He talked afterwards and he didn't even sound bad. Sounded like he knew where he was at and everything. And it's just, I don't know, man. He's really, really, really tough. And then, he retired. So makes sense, I guess. He had a good run. Although more than half of his career was kind of taken away from visa issues.
Very true.
That's why he's back now at the age he is, because he could not be around sooner. But yeah, it was end of an era, I guess.
It does suck that he had part of his career taken away because of the visa issues. Because can you imagine if he would have been able to be in the UFC what feels like maybe 10 years even sooner?
Yeah, but also and I don't know issues involving visas or how those work. I'm just wondering what happened that was so terrible that he could not get one, because everyone else from Brazil is fine, Like, I wonder what happened to cause those issues and why his is different than.
Yeah, that's a very valid question, because I watch a lot of like 90 Day Fiance and stuff, and so their visas take a long time too, like up to over a year. But still, I feel like he constantly.
Well, maybe he was just unlucky, one of the unlucky ones.
Could be.
Your paperwork just does not go through or something. I don't know. Yeah, so I don't know, but that sucks. He's tough. He's had a good career, I think, for what it was. Got the belt. He beat the shit out of a lot of people. But yeah, Jamal Hill, I'm real interested to see who he fights next, considering he beat a guy like Glover in his prime, basically. Yeah, I wonder what's next for him. That's kind of exciting. Did not expect that. So yeah, I don't know. So we had two real retirements, and one division retirement, I guess.
I'm surprised we didn't see Glover, talking about we didn't see him earlier. It's funny because he's always been in the background for a lot of fighters. For a lot of fighters, he's always in the background.
After the John Jones fight, really, I don't remember much in between then and now, and that was a long time ago. I do remember watching that fight, but since that's John Jones, who has been out forever, so that it's been a long time. So I don't know.
But yeah, that was the card for UFC 283. We'll go ahead and jump into the fight night that's coming up. We have Derek Lewis, everyone's favorite, versus Sergey Spivak in the main event.
This fight was already supposed to happen, right? This was postponed for something.
Yeah, I believe Derek Lewis was having some intestinal issues.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't.
They just pushed it back.
Didn't they like pull him out at the last second or something like that? Something weird.
Yeah, it was supposed to be. It was like a stomach problem. And so now they're finally having the bout. Number 7 versus number 12. Come on. I don't know why it's not loading. Anyways, I'm going to take Derek Lewis because, when it gets hot, your balls get hot. So I understand that. I'm a dude. I take Derek Lewis. The dude's just funny. His Instagram's great. I saw a picture of him recently, and he's in way better shape.
Oh, is he? I think I saw that too.
Yeah.
I think I saw him doing some cardio or something, but he looks pretty athletic now, which is interesting. He's been, ever since he's been like at his heaviest, he's been dropping weight consistently. Every fight he's looked better. Every fight he's been more agile. I just remember seeing him do these, he was attempting flying knees for a while. I'm like, wow, this guy is pretty active considering he had back issues.
Not something we're used to from him.
Yeah. Because I remember he was having really bad back issues for a while. So he said, I need to lose weight, and he lost weight, and I think he's good now. So we'll see. It's interesting. I don't know about Sergey Spivak very much. I've seen him fight a few times. He's kind of wild. So anything could happen, but I want Derek Lewis to win. So I'm going to pick him.
I feel like Lewis needs this win. Because he's been so up and down, and he needs to get on the streak of getting some wins.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then in other heavyweight news, we have Marcin Tybura versus, holy shit, I don't even know if I want to pronounce this. Bagoy Ivanov.
Ivanov. Yeah. That's the guy that got stabbed like in the heart, remember?
What's that?
That guy got stabbed like in the chest, remember? We've talked about it before a long time ago. But he actually got stabbed like in the heart area.
And he's like, you can throw something at me? I've been stabbed.
Yeah.
I'm going to beat the shit out of him.
He's tough, and so is Marcin, so I don't know. This one's a toss-up.
Interesting bout.
I don't know.
I've noticed that in the fight nights, that's where a lot of contendership for heavyweight happens.
Yeah.
A lot of guys that are ranked, that's where the rankings really changes within a fight night.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, because you'll have some of the lower ranked fighters fighting, and a lot of the building blocks kind of get switched up, and who knows who gets thrown in there next for the championship. I don't know. But we'll see. Duho Choi, did I see that?
Yes.
Duho Choi
versus Kyle Nelson.
Don't know too much about Kyle Nelson. Duho Choi, I like him. He's cool. I don't know. He's kind of a hit or miss, I think. Duho Choi. I go for him though. I like him.
You know what? I'll take Kyle Nelson, and Kyle Nelson actually needs to come out with Tim Hortons, which is really big over there, and he needs to come out dressed in a Canadian tuxedo because I want to see how hard.
Tuxedo. There's a difference. There's a specific. Do
you know what a Canadian tuxedo is?
Wait, no. What is it?
It's a denim jacket and denim pants.
Ew, that's funny. Why? What's with the denim?
It's just a long joke that's been going on with Canadians. It's Canadian tuxedo right there. Yeah.
They like
also, after, because I take him to win. After he wins, I expect him to be super nice and super respectful after he wins, and be like, "Oh, what's it all about, E?" And then he's like, "Let's go watch hockey."
Ew. Oh, God.
I expect him to be like a Letterkenny character. I know that's terrible of me to think that way, but I mean, that's how I see all Canadians, including pro wrestlers, which I happen to love.
They're like that too.
I want them to be, but they're not, but I want them to be. I expect everybody, after watching Letterkenny, have you ever heard of this show?
No.
It's on Hulu. Check it out, folks. It's hilarious. I expect everybody to be like Letterkenny characters. That's me. All right, go ahead. Moving down the card. it's just filled out a lot of fighters from Asia on this card.
Well, where is this at? Vegas? Oh, it's in Vegas.
So I'm like, wait a minute, is this overseas? And it's not. No, it's in Vegas. Okay. It's at the Apex Center.
Korea. A lot of Korea. Okay.
A lot of Korea. There's Japan.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Like, wow. Okay. Yeah, I wonder what's up with that. I've never seen that before. Like, I get it if they were over in Asia somewhere, but they're not.
Yeah, it's really surprising. I have a few fighters from the United States, but a lot of overseas fighters. All right. I'm curious to see how this shakes out.
I wonder if it's like a gym thing. Are they all from, maybe the same gym or same area to where they can all get up and come over here to fight?
This is literally like the Olympics of fighting. Let's just be honest, because we have Japan, South Korea, Germany, Russia, Ukraine. No, I think Ukraine. Bulgaria, Moldova.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Poland. Holy cow.
That's interesting. Yeah.
That should be interesting. I'm curious to see it. And this says it's at 10 o'clock at night.
Maybe it's supposed to say 10 a.m.
Maybe, because I'm like, damn, that's late.
That's not right. I bet it's 10 a.m.
Hopefully, because 10 p.m.
Which is early.
Man.
Well, it's listed like that everywhere.
Oh, well, but that should be the main event is what we're looking forward to mostly. Derek Lewis, we love Derek Lewis, so we want him to get the win. All right, let's go ahead and move on. We actually have a guest.
Hey.
Hello. Uh-oh, we can't hear you.
There you go. Oh, nope. Muted.
This happens, folks, when you go live. It's okay. We're going to work out the kinks. We still can't hear.
No. Heard. Now it's okay.
Let's see.
Because her mic gets muted and not muted, but I still can't hear. I can see the little
all right, we're gonna try and
icon going away, but I still can't hear.
That was she'll be competing at 5 from 9 fights. That was Stacey Moran. She'll be competing for the belt, for the strawweight belt against Angelica Pimentel. Very curious to talk to her and see how her training is going in advance of the fight that's going to be next week, January 28th in Visalia. As we've talked about before, 5 from 9 fights puts on great fight cards.
Yes,
in amateurs, and we definitely look forward to that. We also have Uriah Faber's fight card coming up in 2 weeks.
Yeah, on the 3rd, I think.
Yes, that will be Friday night.
I will be there.
February the 3rd. Oh, you're going?
Yeah, I'm going to go.
All right. Any fights that you're looking forward to? I know we've discussed this already last week, but are there any fights that you're looking forward to?
Oh, yeah. So I've always gone to watch Art Arcienega will be fighting. Back in the day, I used to go watch him at Tachi all the time for all of his fights. So it'll be fun to go back to the same spot now. I know it's a different organization. Probably, I don't know, who knows? This might be a better thing for Lamore. Uriah Faber's A1 Combat.
I feel like it's higher profile because it's Uriah Faber and it's going to be on Fight Pass. Whereas Tachi Palace Fights was usually on SureDog. But
was it?
I feel like this is much higher profile.
Yeah. So this should be really fun. I'm looking forward to that. And I'm really only going to watch Art. I'm not sure of any other fighters on there. But I'm sure they're going to be good. So
well, we do know of one fight because we've had them both on. That was AJ Perez versus Kaelyn Milton.
That's true. And I'm looking forward to that now that you reminded me. I would definitely be looking out for that one for sure. Yeah, so I'm definitely excited for those 2 fights. There might be more people that I know fighting that I won't realize until later, but I'll be there for the whole thing. So.
We'll definitely discuss it more next week. Have more of a fight card in front of us because I'm pretty sure things are finally finalized, even if they have to get short-term fighters, but they'll have more of an idea of what the fight card's going to look like just in case anybody's dropped off. But yeah. I'm very curious how, I see the photos on social media, how their prep has gone.
Yeah. The fighters.
Yeah. And where are they training at? Because some of these guys we haven't seen since before COVID. So
Right.
how have they had to adjust? Are they still able to train at the same places, and how that's worked out?
Yeah, I know Art has been stopping by a little bit by Manny's just to get some extra work in. So I know that. I don't know as far as the other ones. I don't know. I don't know what their gym situation is, but
It's just
yeah, we talked to Kale. You know,
I'm curious about.
Yeah, sounds like it's been kind of rough. I don't know. It just kind of depends if your gym closed or not during that time. But
Yeah. Well, we know that Kale he travels like a half hour to go to train because he trains at 7th Gen, and man, like
I think he got stuck. Wasn't he stuck at home?
He was for because of the storms and stuff.
The
we
flooding,
we never think about traveling distance because both you and I are in an area where everything is relatively close to us, so it's never an issue.
Right. Yeah, I know.
Some people that live in the foothills, because that's our geography that we have around here, or topography, I believe is the actual term.
Okay.
I know. I sound smart, right?
Yeah, you did.
We never think about having to travel that much further. Like, it's one thing if I went from where I'm at to like Dethroned over on Bullard, because there's no freeway access to it, so it's going to take a little bit amount of time, but it's mainly just because of stoplights. For him, it's turns and twists and weather.
Yeah, that flooding really destroyed a lot around here.
And there's still most of California is still suffering from it.
Yeah, all the damage. Crazy. I don't know. We're always begging for rain, but then when we get it, we don't know what to do with it.
No, we got too much of it. That's the thing. We want it in portions,
not
all at once.
Yeah, I guess so. But yeah, I am definitely looking forward to that fight card. It's coming up soon. And I'm wondering how often they're going to be back. You know, I know they go other places too, but I wonder when are they going to come back to Lemoore specifically?
I wonder if they're going to see how ticket sales are. Because I imagine a lot of promotions gauge that. How are ticket sales? If they're good, they'll come back. If they're not so good,
Well, I know when I got the tickets online yesterday, me and my friend did. They're the only sections that were available were the very top. So I believe it's going to be sold out.
Hopefully,
close.
I want to see how it's set up because I believe it'll be in the bingo hall area, and I've been there for a lot of fights. I went to every Tatsu Palace fights. So that was all flat. They just had the chairs going out so far. So I'm curious.
This one looks like it's up.
They're going to have risers.
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
I'm very curious to see the layout. So
yeah, I
don't need you to post pictures of the fights. I want you to post pictures of what everything looks like.
For sure. Yeah, I'll take some videos. That'll be fun.
But I'm definitely curious to finally to see how it's going to go down and to have professional fighting back in the Central Valley, because we haven't had it for a hot minute.
Been a while.
Definitely. And I'm also curious to see when they come back, if they come back, hopefully they do, will they have, who will be on the card?
Yeah. Is it like repeat? Brand new? Yeah.
Definitely. I know they're going to have a lot of younger guys because that's what they're really trying to cultivate is the young fighters. As much as I appreciate Art and Sergio, these are guys who have been around for a long time.
Yeah. They've been around for a long time.
I'm glad, but I don't. How much longer can they compete? How much longer can they fight?
Yeah,
that's why they're cultivating these younger crop of fighters. That's why I'm curious to see this new crop. I want to see these new guys. I want to see what they have to offer.
Yeah, like the people that have been around for a while already they're taking fights basically because it's a good opportunity. It's not like they have to, so they're picky. But when you make one good enough, then we got something. Then there's something worth doing it for, and maybe the money will be a bit better than, other organizations like Bellator or something like that who really don't pay very much until you are at least on the main card and maybe have a ranking number next to your name. Or popularity also.
Wow. You can sell tickets.
Yeah, sell tickets. So yeah, I'm interested to see how often they come in 1 year here to Lemoore. But we'll see. Definitely excited because we have 559. Now we have this. It's like now we have a few options to go watch MMA. Also LFA is coming around again, I believe.
I believe in March.
We'll have that too.
There's a lot going on. I'm glad that we're finally getting things going back in the Central Valley in the way of MMA.
I think it's blowing up now. I think we're able to do anything we want to do now. There's no, I don't think COVID exists anymore as far as changing venues and stuff like that and events. I think. As far as anyone being concerned with that, I don't think anyone's doing those protocols anymore. So it should be easier. I think it's like we're good to go now with whatever comes up. So
very true. Now we've talked local, but we're going to now shift gears and go back to national and talk about UFC. Jose Aldo is being inducted into the Hall of Fame this summer.
Not surprised.
I'm not surprised either. And it's just crazy because he's pretty much like done fighting, but he still is such a young guy. It still has so much to offer.
He does. I think I don't know what he's doing now. Does he run a gym? I think he does, doesn't he?
I imagine so. I mean, he's got to do something, but he officially stepped away from MMA in September of last year. His record was 13-7 in the UFC, and the guy is nothing but a stud in UFC, even though his last outings weren't as successful, but still he is.
Also, he's changed weight classes too. So
yes,
he did do better when he dropped, which I never thought would happen because I always felt like he had issues making the weight in the first place. And then to move down to 135, was it 135? He was 145, moved down to 135 and looked really good. Like I was a little nervous, but then watching him fight, he looked really, really strong. So I don't know.
Well, he's one of the first people to go that's been announced to be going into the Hall of Fame. So we'll see who else is going to follow him. Are there any names you want to put out there that you think should be in the Hall of Fame?
Man, the Hall of Fame is so big now. It's hard to even remember who's already in there. Apparently Glover is in there, but he's in there due to, I think it was under the fight wing. I don't know what fight it was. Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm trying to think like all the guys I would say I think are already in there right now.
There's only one, but it's also for me for selfish reasons, and that's Frank Shamrock.
Is he not?
I don't believe so. I'm pretty sure he's not because he's had a falling out with the UFC, and that's never been remedied.
Okay.
And I think he should be in there because that dude was a stud.
Well, pioneer, right? I think that's what
exactly.
Yeah.
Really more of the guy who transitioned into overall MMA rather than being really, really good at one specific style.
Yeah. So all the guys I can think of, I think they might already be in there. I don't know. I guess they have that in July, right?
Yes. I believe Stephan Bonner is already in it. And he would be one.
Oh, gosh. Yeah.
That should definitely be in it.
Is he not? I'm sure. I think his fight with he is in there in the fight wing with
Forrest Griffin.
Forrest Griffin. Their fight is in there now. I don't know.
But he's already in there.
But that's really what he was known for, was that fight, that historic fight, because both of them deserve to be in there for that fight. So.
All right, let's go ahead and see if we can bring back Stacy with us. Stacy, can you hear us?
Hi, yeah. I'm trying to get my video to set up. I don't know why it's not coming on, but I can hear you guys.
Well, we can hear you now.
We can hear you. Everything sounds great. We don't have picture, but that's fine. We can still talk. It's all
okay. Good. Awesome.
How's training been going for you with your preparation for this fight that's coming up next Saturday?
I'm super excited. Not gonna lie, it's been tough. I now am training at El Nino, so I'm working with the Melendez, so Gilbert Melendez and Carrie Melendez, and I think that whole just environment is pretty tough. Working with one of the best grapplers that I look up to, looking at Carrie with her striking. So yeah, it's been tough, but it's the grind that we all love as fighters.
Has it been, like, you talk about it being tough, but was it quite the transition going from that from one school to this one, especially because you're going into a school that already has such an established name?
Oh, of course. I think the move came with a lot of things. I'm assuming that a lot of fighters had to maybe change their training since when COVID hit. But that was kind of like the big push that initially made me move different gyms. But ultimately, I figured that it was the best move for me at the time, and even now. But it also just helps you, like, your mindset. It's one of those things where you can't come late to class at that gym. You can't kind of like, I'm just gonna like lollygag in here. Like, half of my teammates are pros. They're going into the UFC. They're fighting at Bellator. So it was a culture shock to come into a gym where everyone is hungry, and you'll get called out. Like, hey, you're not doing your part as a teammate. And I love that accountability, not just for my coaches, but for my teammates as well.
So I guess there's a lot of pressure then to, I don't know, I would think there's a lot of pressure now to, like you said, that you're training with pros that are trying to get into UFC and Bellator, or may already be in there. So do you feel that pressure of like, I need to be here, and whether I'm dead or not, I have to keep trying because everyone else is kind of relying on their team as a whole rather than their own selves?
I think as fighters, we just put pressure on ourselves in general, whether we're training out of a small local gym or we're training out of a big gym. I think for me, I put the pressure for myself. I think I want to go out there and show what we've been practicing, what we've been drilling, not necessarily to win or lose. Obviously, we want to win and bring home that belt. But to me, the pressure is, am I a good student? Am I a good martial artist where I know how to adapt to certain things that we've been working on, to make sure that I'm paying attention in class? Like, all those things are more like the pressure for me as a student. I want to prove to my coaches that I'm listening to them, that I understand what they're saying, that I understand the concepts that they're drilling into me.
Yeah, so this is a strawweight bout, right?
Yes.
Okay. Have you always fought at that weight, or is this anything new?
No. I have always fought at 115.
And is this like a hard 115 to get to, or do you not have a very tough time making weight? Do you have to have any special diet, or do you even really have to cut weight?
No, yeah. So I've been on a pretty strict diet. I'm not gonna lie, my last weight cut wasn't the best. I low-key bro scienced it. This camp around, I was like, all right, maybe I should not do that anymore and sit down. My strength and conditioning coach and nutritionist, Shinju, she's actually one of my teammates, but she has me on a pretty strict diet and stuff like that. And the camp was terrible, but the weight's been coming off and stuff like that. So it's definitely worth not having to cut 10 pounds week of. Cutting 5 pounds week of is a lot better than doing that, especially for a female. It's tough, but this time around, we're good.
Yeah, I think not having to cut any weight would be the best, especially a week out. I know, like, people do that all the time. Guys do it, no problem, cut 10 pounds here and there. It's like, well, I know, like, for me, I gotta like prepare a month ahead to get to the weight and not have to really cut weight and be uncomfortable, because the last thing you want to do is be uncomfortable right before you're supposed to feel the best you're ever supposed to be.
Yeah.
Feeling.
Yeah, exactly. So it is nice, like, I can have some carbs this week. I can do my last workouts and not feel like I'm gonna die. So yeah. I'm excited. Yes, I'm excited.
Do any so for your training camp and your weight, what are some things that you do? I mean, do you do sauna? Do you do anything special like that to get those pounds off?
Yeah. I usually do the sauna. We always joke around, like, I always feel like I'm the sweatiest girl on the mat sometimes. So it kind of helps out. But the baths also work. It kind of just gets you like mentally prepared. You got to be in this bath, and then as soon as you get out of this bath, you got to pretty much get wrapped up, and you're just sitting there. So we might have to do a couple rounds of that, but other than that, nothing to where I'm like having to wake up day of the weigh-in to cut more weight. 7-day weigh-ins is pretty tough, especially when you're I'm probably not going to step in the cage maybe like around 10 o'clock, 9:30 at night. So it's one of those things where we wanted to make sure that on actual fight day, we were all set. We didn't have to wake up early, kind of wake up on weight.
So your weigh-ins are day of?
Yes, ma'am.
Yep.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Amateurs are day of.
Yeah. I know a lot of the amateurs do that.
Yeah.
It is.
I've done some boxing tournaments and they have you weigh in every day. So it's weird. Yeah, I fought 112 and that was brutal. But you got to weigh in every day. So if you win, you can't go celebrate. You probably get like a one maybe decent good night rest, and then you got to wake up and either cut again or not have a good dinner. And I've seen a bunch of my teammates, big guys too. They're like, well, we have 20 people in our bracket. So it's like you're going to be fighting and weight cutting for a full weekend. So
I've never heard of that before. That makes me just super sad face right now.
Oh yeah. Like the tournaments, like those boxing tournaments that are like weekend longs, you have to weigh in every day.
Oh, wow. Goodness. Okay. Did not know that. I think they're starting to do that with Muay Thai now. I know that they didn't before. They would have, same date weigh-in, begin the tournament, go all weekend, people blow up or whatever. But now they are, I believe, you do have to weigh in every day that you're fighting. And I don't know if it has anything to do with like hydration or what, but I know that they're getting a little more strict on that. So that sucks.
Yeah, it really does. But, like I said, we're kind of.
Uh-oh.
No.
Stacy.
The audio was so good.
I know we can't hear you now.
Might be frozen.
Right. That might be.
Can you guys hear me now?
There we go.
Okay, we're good. We're back.
So I was going to ask about training partners, but obviously you have a lot of great training partners. You're probably the best place. Now, how is your sparring? Do you guys have a tough schedule with sparring, or how does that go for you?
Yeah, it depends. It depends by each kind of individual fighter. We kind of have a regimen down of what days we want to spar, who's going to be there. We kind of do a lot of situational sparring. So if we're working on maybe a technique like getting boxing into a takedown, like those are the drills that we're doing. We're doing 3-4 minute rounds, switching it up, and then we'll do a lot of for boxing. We'll do situational sparring again. Only jabs, only 1-2s, only 2s. And then after we get a couple rounds of those, then we're like, all right, let's go live and, try to implement what we've been learning. So depending on what day, depending on what the week is looking like, we have about like 2 or 3 days of sparring. And it's cool because the hard days are the hard days. So, but for the most part, like you're always doing some type of technical sparring with each other. It just kind of helps with your reaction and just drilling. So those would be kind of the sparring sessions that we have.
Wow, that's cool. That sounds like you have a full plate. Now, are you balancing a full-time job as well as doing this?
Yeah, actually, you guys caught me on the spot. I'm actually at work right now. That's why I was like trying to figure out this video situation. I'm like, geez, Louise. I was trying to do it on my phone, but it was just better on my computer.
Okay, you have a nice picture.
So I do work a full-time job. But I've always just I knew what I was getting into. No one forced me to be a fighter. No one forced me to live this dream. And I just figured that if I pick this, I'm going to have to find a way to balance everything. And luckily with my job that I have, they're very aware of what I do outside. So they kind of give me leeway when I have camps and stuff like that.
Oh, wow. That's so nice of them.
That's awesome.
Yeah. It is. But like, when I first wanted to be a fighter, I Googled literally how to be an MMA fighter. And it didn't give me
one. I've never heard that before. I've never.
Neither have I, but you know what? I dig it.
Hey, what did it tell you?
Well, it only told me what arts you need to do. Okay. And I kid you not, it was my second year of college. I've always wanted to be a professional athlete.
Wow.
I saw my coach now, Gilbert Melendez, fight with Diego Sanchez, and I was like, I think I could do that. You know what? Like,
that was a fight that made you think that I could do
that. It was. And like I said, like, I've watched those people growing up, like, you know, all like Cyborg, Ronda Rousey.
Yeah.
I've always been into sports. So I kind of wish you guys could see me right now. I'm geared up in my Niner gear for the game later today.
I was going to ask about that at the end of the interview.
Hours, I think.
Oh, nice. So yeah, so I'm just like, you know, I wanted to do it, and I was like, you know what, I want to be a martial artist. I did it in high school. I did Kachu Kempo, and I was just always around it. And I watched that fight, and I said, you know what, I'm gonna quit school. I'm gonna go home and figure it out. And I knew that we had to train, so I try to find jobs that either have flexibility or I could work in the morning, so I could train at night. Ended up getting this job that I have now. That I was very honest with them. I said, hey, if you want me to work for you, these are the kind of things that I need. And they were like, sweet, cool, all right. Wow. And yeah,
that's so nice. It's pretty important, you know, because you're gonna go to work exhausted. You know, you get up early, you go to work out till you're dead, sleep a little bit, and do it all over again. That I know that gets pretty rough. But that's really cool that they be working with you, and that shows how serious you are, because a lot of people cannot put fighting first. They have to put their job first. So it's like whatever they can get, then, you know, maybe they can't show up to training for a couple days a week, which is crazy, you know, to think to not work out a couple days and expect to fight, you know, when really you should be training at least 5 days a week, maybe 6, you know, depending on
you got to say sorry a lot to your friends. For sure.
Can't go out. Yeah,
I can't go out or anything like that, but you know, I always I try to kind of be like GSP, you know, and like understand like it's a bigger picture, and these small sacrifices, you know, are going to pay off. And it sucks. It does suck coming to work sometimes with like a black eye, and then people are just like, wearing a lot of makeup on today. What happened? And I'm just like, I have a date.
You're like, later. It was just Tuesday.
Yeah. Had part of my team tell me that the other day. They're like, oh, was training hard yesterday? I was like, no, why? They're like, I don't know, you have extra makeup on today. I started laughing. I'm like, you know what, get out there, don't worry about me.
Yeah, that's funny. But yeah, so what are your plans outside of doing these 559? Like, I mean, are you pretty serious about being pro? Like, this is your career path that you want to take?
Absolutely, yes. I definitely have, you know, timelines for myself. I'd like to think that I'm young old. I am 28, but I think
I think you're good.
Yeah, I feel like, you know, in fight years, it's this, you know, but then you watch Glover Teixeira freaking kill it, and he looked at that guy in that 4th round and was like, we're gonna go. And I'm like, yo, you're 40-year-old. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, no, and so you have these people that can, and 28 by all means is not old, but when you are thinking about fighting, I know I've been doing amateur Muay Thai, but when I started, I was like, you know, 20, which is late. Of course, it's always late to start any kind of sport, really, when you're already 20-ish. But you know, now we see all these kids coming up from like 15 doing all this, and it's really crazy. But also, you do have, and it's open to everybody. I think it's open to everyone that can handle the training. If you take care of yourself, you know, I think you can take it as far as you can go. And I mean, you know, you have at least 5 to 7 years of, you know, hard work and your body being at its peak. So that's exciting, no matter what age, you know. So I think you're, you know, it sounds like you're taking it very seriously. So that's really exciting to see what happens. Do you know anything about your opponent?
I do, yeah. You know, she's a really game opponent. Honestly, I think we're low-key might be the fight of the night for sure. She likes to bang it out. I like to bang it out. She has really good jiu-jitsu, really good wrestling. And again, like at the end of the day, like I think we're all here to just get better. Hopefully she feels the same way about me, you know, that I gave her a couple of things that she could work on and stuff like that. And yeah, I'm just excited. I'm ready. And we're ready to go out there and put on a show.
Nice. James, do you have anything?
how did you get into it? You talked about doing martial arts when you were younger. How did you get into the world of MMA?
Yeah. So actually, my mom's best friend was the first person to introduce me to MMA. She was like, I've always been pretty tomboy, aggressive kid. I have a younger brother, and he could tell you stories of how I like to torture him as a child. And then, but I was actually a swimmer. Swimming was my first passion. And then when I got to high school, my mom's best friend was like, hey, like, I think you should try out like martial arts. And I knew about it. I've seen it, obviously. And then she was like, yeah, like, you should check out these people. And I just got hooked. On it. I was watching the interviews, watching like GSP walk out, with his headband. Like, who didn't love Karate Kid? And then you actually see a Karate Kid doing Karate Kid stuff in real life, I loved all that. Power Rangers, anything that was just superhero athleticism, I loved. And when she told me about that, I just started following it. Again, started doing martial arts when I was in high school. I liked college. Don't get me wrong. It was great, but something it didn't click. It didn't click for me. Not that I didn't want to study or anything. I just didn't. I looked at my classmates and I'm like, dude, they like love this. And I'm over here like watching the highlights of the Niners or something. I'm over here watching like Frank Gore's top 10 rushes. And I'm like, you know what? I want to be an athlete. I was too short to be a swimmer. And I'm like, I could fight though. I think I want to do it. And again, I was just watching fights and I was like, you know what? I'm going to do this. And no one told me. I actually didn't tell anybody. I just came back home. And like I said, I Googled it, how to be an MMA fighter. And then I think the universe, God, whatever you believe in, put in the right people in my path to be like, okay, cool. Like, these are the kind of steps that you have to take. And I just ran with it. And right now, like I said, like, everyone wants to be a UFC champion. Everyone wants to be a champion and test themselves. And that's what I want to do. I want to go out there, test my mind, test my martial arts, test just everything. I think fighting does that for you spiritually, physically, and mentally. So I can't see myself doing anything other than this right now.
Yeah, fighting does fix a lot of things, huh? Have you done any, jiu-jitsu tournaments, Muay Thai, boxing? I think you said boxing tournaments, but
yeah.
What about jiu-jitsu or anything else?
Yeah, I've done jiu-jitsu tournament. I've done worlds before. I've done worlds once as a blue belt. I've done a couple boxing matches, and then I've done a bunch of PKBs. I think maybe after this fight, if I'm, healthy and everything like that, I do want to maybe dabble in some Muay Thai. I think it'd be fun. I think I just want to take the opportunity now that I'm not a pro and I don't have to kind of make sure I'm only sticking to MMA, depending on what organization I get signed with. So, yeah, I'm all for it. Striking is my favorite, so I would like to get better at that for sure.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now, I saw earlier that you're rocking some Niners gear because as a Niner fan, I appreciate that. So it's obvious that you're taking the 49ers over the Cowboys?
You know what? I think so. Bosa is my favorite athlete. I think the Niners just got it. I see the hunger in their eyes. We've been disappointed. I think Purdy came up, and he brings that confidence that everyone that knows me, they're going to be like, wow, of course you would start hating on Garoppolo. But I just never felt that from him. You got to have someone like that on the team. You got to have someone that's like, beating his chest after you make a touchdown, just getting everyone hyped up, I think that was kind of like the missing piece for the Niners right now. Now that Purdy and everybody's kind of in that same realm, it's going to be a tough game, but I think we're gonna make it. I think we get it. We got it in the bag.
All right, that's what I like to hear. Now, how can people find you on social media?
Cool. You would find me most active on Instagram. I believe my handle is Stacey Michelle at MMA. Yeah, Stacey Michelle MMA. Same thing on Facebook. Twitter is the same as well. Just my first and last name. And then yeah.
Is there anybody you'd like to shout out?
Oh, just my whole entire squad, man. My coaches, Gil, Coach Jairo with Jairo Boxing. All of my teammates at El Nino, Shinju, Hyder, Jazzy, Carrie, Kat, like that whole squad, that whole team is just like really helped me out. And I can't even, I have no words to express my gratitude for them, you know. I'm just an amateur fighter, and they took me in with open arms, and they really like helped me out. So everyone at El Nino, everyone at Escobar Boxing, yeah, everyone in that crew is just, even to the people that randomly take classes, everyone at that gym helps me out in some type of way. So my El Nino crew, my El Nino gym, shout out to them.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for us here at the MMA Mainstream Podcast. You guys can check out Stacey Moran competing next Saturday, the 28th of January in Visalia at the Visalia Convention Center for 559 fights as she fights for the strawweight belt. Good luck to you, Stacey. Thank you for coming on the show, and we will see you guys next time.
Thank you guys so much. Have a great day.